give a slight introduction.
Yep.
And we're here today at the Children's Coalition Incorporated. Um, and for the record, um, I'm the executive director of the Children's Coalition Incorporated. I'm doing the recording, Carlton Cartwright. Um, Paul, when is your birthday
It's 10/6/1976.
and your current address?
4695 Lucerne Lakes Boulevard, apartment 102, Lake Worth, Florida, 33467.
And give me your full name.
James Paul Jefferys.
Okay. All right. What war or branch of service did you serve in? What was your rank and where did you serve?
I was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. As far as a wartime, I was right in between the Gulf War and then the Afghanistan conflict. So, peacetime Marine.
Okay. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Where were you living at the time?
Royal Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay, you enlisted, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you join?
I wasn't ready to go to college, and I'd always been interested in the Marine Corps, to be honest with you. When I was when I was a kid, I was in Boy Scouts, and all of us sort of latched on to military service at an early age. And myself and my friend Brian Wessels had selected the Marine Corps as kind of our thing. I had friends from Boy Scouts from the Air Force, the Army, but Brian and I and another guy, Jody Lanier, we all enlisted in the Marine Corps.
Okay. Right. So that's why you picked that branch because your friends. That's a decision that you all made together, or what?
Yeah, we latched onto the Marine Corps at an early age as far as the history, and that was just our thing.
Okay. Do you recall your first days in the service?
As far as boot camp or
Yeah.
when I went to be okay.
What were you doing before you went into service? First of all.
Well, I enlisted actually in 11th grade.
Uh-huh.
I was still in high school. My father wanted me to join the Air Force. I didn't want to do that, so he wouldn't sign for me before I was 18. So it was on my 18th birthday I actually went to the recruiter and enlisted.
Okay.
So I spent a good portion of my senior year already knowing where I was going to go.
Huh. Okay. So tell me about boot camp.
Okay. Yeah, I went to Parris Island, like all East Coast Marines do.
Where's that at exactly?
South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a bit of a culture shock, but when you first get off and they line you up on the yellow footprints, they always bring you there in the middle of the night, so you're already tired. It's intentional, And when you first meet that first drill instructor, I mean, they just go off on you. But that's not even the worst yet. You haven't been dropped into your platoon, so you haven't met crazy yet,
Okay.
But it's a controlled crazy.
Well, stressful, huh?
Yeah, and it's intentional. You don't know which way's up and down. It's like that you're looking for something to grab onto, like a life preserver, and it's as frightening as it is. It really is your drill instructor's voice. Just do it. Just do what they tell you. You're gonna be all right.
Right. Yeah. What about your instructors? Do you remember them?
I remember Staff Sergeant Bishop, Paul Bishop.
Uh-huh.
Sergeant McGuigan. I didn't know his name. The reason I know Staff Sergeant Bishop's name is because I actually got in contact with him later on while I was out in the Marine Corps. And I remember my senior drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Laney. They always have, the senior drill instructor has like that fatherly type. They're the guy that you can turn to a certain extent, while you got like your heavy drill instructor, and their life is, their existence is to make your life hell.
Uh-huh.
Then you got like your knowledge drill instructor, and the guys that come across as more. I don't want to say educated, but that's their job, is Marine Corps history and things like that. And that was Staff Sergeant Bishop,
Uh-huh.
who was. Yeah, he was a good guy. They were all hard on you, but there's a reason behind it,
Gotcha. So where were you after Parris Island? Where'd you go?
I went to Camp Lejeune for Marine combat training.
What state is in it?
It's in North Carolina.
Got it.
Yeah. So I went there for a month. If you pick any other MOS other than 03, then you go to MCT, Marine Combat Training. If you decide to become an 03, you go to SOI. Same camp. MCT was at Camp Geiger, I think. I think they changed the name up to like Camp Devil Dog or something.
Uh-huh.
But at the time when I went, it was Camp Geiger. So you spend a month there, and then after that, I went to NBC school. It's Nuclear Biological Chemical Defense. I think they changed the name of that to Seaburn. It's kind of the same occupation, but they changed the name of it to Seaburn. But at the time, it was called NBC Defense. Yeah. And that was in Fort McClellan, Alabama, which is closed now.
Okay. Where'd you go after that?
After that, I went.
Hey,
Sure.
Where'd you go after that? Go ahead.
I went to Camp Pendleton, California.
For?
That's where I was stationed initially. Was 1st Marine Division. It was something called Division NBC. And basically, with the Division NBCs, your job is to check all the battalions within 1st Marine Division for their NBC preparedness. Basically, make sure the inventory is ready, make sure they've been conducting their training and all that. It's a fairly boring desk job. I was only there for 3 or 4 months, I guess, when they noticed that I wasn't happy, I wasn't digging this, and this isn't what I enlisted for. So I got sent to 1st LAR Battalion, and that's when I got into nuclear biological chemical reconnaissance. And that was a deployable unit, a combat battalion, and that's what I enlisted for. Man, I felt like I was doing what I wanted to do at that point.
Were there any casualties in your unit or platoon through basic training?
No, we had an injury in MCT. It was a live fire exercise, the whole "I'm up, they see me, I'm down" type thing. And this guy, remember his last name, Canali, but I don't remember his first name. But he got shot in the leg. He wound up losing his leg. But no, nobody died.
Okay, cool. All right, so you were at Camp Pendleton. That was your first duty station.
Yep.
How long were you there?
I was there for the rest of my enlistment. I went back to Fort McClellan at times for additional NBC training, but that was my main station, 1st LAR Battalion, and that's where I lived. It was on Camp Los Flores.
Okay, so by the grace of God, you didn't see any combat.
No, I did not.
Okay, that's not a problem. All right, tell me a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Well, I like to call us, all dressed up with no one to kill. That was my point of view. Because, no, I'm serious. Because that's what we wanted to do. I mean, we were there to fight, and our being naive,
Yeah.
But there was a time when we almost did go into Iraq. It was when Saddam Hussein had taken a shot at Bush Sr.
Right.
And at the time, Clinton, we were under President Clinton. And there was a build-up to it, to the point that we were ready to go, like, that Saturday, I believe. We had all of our weapons drawn. We'd already had our gear inspections and everything. We were going to leave that Saturday. And we got the order to stand down. And it was a Tomahawk missile strike is what President Clinton went with instead. Which, in hindsight, was probably the better choice. But at the time, we were pissed, man. We were like, what the hell, man? We thought we could go take some guys out, man.
There we go.
And again, that's the kind of mentality that they instill into you. It really is a warrior mentality.
Part of your training.
Yeah, and I have veterans, friends that are Iraq War veterans that had gone long after I had gotten out.
Right.
And that mentality changes once you see that. You still get guys that are hard chargers and everything, but I don't think you crave that type of thing any longer.
Right.
At least my friends don't.
I hear you. That's good news. Okay. Were you awarded any medals or citations?
No, nothing.
No.
That was.
Okay. Good conduct.
Yeah, I did get the good cookie. I got the good cookie.
All right.
I was, straight and narrow, right down the middle. I didn't do anything to stand out per se, except for NBC school. I was graduated second in my class, and then for Fox NBC Reconnaissance, I was first. Other than that, though, no, I didn't do anything to stand out. I was right down the middle. Didn't get in trouble. Didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't the greatest Marine on the face of the earth either.
Going back to your basic training and your tech school training, there's a section here that says, how did you get through it? What I'm really curious about is, you have your physical training and you have your mental training.
Right.
So you talked about, how you were trained to go into combat.
Right. I'll say Marine Corps boot camp's 90% mental. Really and truly. you get in the right mindset and your body will follow.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I had a moment that there's that initial shock when you first get dropped into your platoon.
Mm-hmm.
Your drill instructors go berserk and they trash everything, but it's that shock type thing. Now, my rack was right next to the drill instructor's hooch, and I was scared and in shock and everything else, but I could also hear them trying not to laugh in their hooch. So I could tell this is part of what they do. It's welcome aboard, fellas. So I never talked about it, but I kept that in the back of my mind. What they're doing is they're making us hard.
Yeah.
Like I said, getting that proper mindset, and that really is your life preserver. Do what they say, and you'll be all right. And your body's just gonna follow as a natural result of that. And that's how I got through it.
Okay. Okay. So, the mental regimen. I'm trying to dig kind of deep.
Sure, go ahead.
As far as, what is the mindset? You said it was 90% mental,
yeah,
and 10% physical. Isn't it very strenuous and hard?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But what I'm saying is the physical part will come along naturally.
Okay.
It's almost all you got to do is hang on.
Right.
Do what your drill instructors say, and that's going to take care of itself. And like day-to-day operations, like a field day on Sunday where you got to clean the squad bay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, we didn't do that with mops and things like that. They call it scuzz the deck, right? Everything's exercise. Just do what you're told. So we had like our rags. I can't remember what they called it. But everybody get in a circle and get down on your hands and knees, called scuzz the deck. Put soap and water down, and everybody runs in circles until the freaking deck's clean.
Right. Okay. Okay. So you said, what was the last part about?
But like everything results in some sort of physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, cleaning the squad bay, called field day. That was, like I bring up scuzz in the deck as an example.
I got you. How did you stay in touch with your family?
Only letter writing. There's no access to a phone or anything like that.
What was the food like?
This was something. The food was great in my opinion. It's another thing. It's one of those things you latch onto. We used to call it living chow to chow.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as it's done with morning chow, I was already thinking about evening chow. It's like, man, what am I gonna get in my belly next?
But how was the food? Was it good?
It was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Speaking of which, did you guys go on? You went on a lot of maneuvers.
In 1st LAR Battalion.
Out in the field, it was training.
It was all field type thing. We go to 29 Palms or whatever out in Camp Pendleton. But I never did go on like a float or anything. So here's the thing.
What is a float? What is that?
Okay, it's like Westpac was the most popular one because there was a stop off in Australia. But basically, you spend 6 months at sea going to different areas to train. Now, any unit in division in 1st Marine Division could have requested a Fox vehicle to go with them.
Right.
Nobody ever did. We would call and ask, hey, please, you want some good NBC training? We'll come with you. We'll work. Nobody would take us. There's like this. Everybody's afraid of nuclear biological chemical warfare, and rightfully so. But they don't want to do any of the training. It's like that's how you get past that. I was terrified of it. That's why I chose that MOS.
Right.
That's how you get past it.
So you wanted to go, but you didn't get to go.
No. Yeah, I didn't go anywhere.
Okay. Did you have all the supplies that you needed? Throughout your service. How long were you in the service?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, just a 4-year enlistment.
All right.
We had what we needed. It was dated. Older equipment. The Marine Corps always gets sort of screwed in the equipment department.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just being honest.
Hey. And you pretty much talked about. All right, what was your regular job after basic training at Camp Pendleton? What was your regular job?
Okay, so when I first started with Division NBC, and I was only there for maybe 4 months,
Uh-huh.
that was basically inspections. We'd go around and inspect all the battalions and make sure that their readiness was up to par.
Mm-hmm.
After I got switched to 1st LAR Battalion, this is pretty unique. We started something called the Fox Platoon. The Fox is a nuclear biological chemical reconnaissance vehicle. They were used in Desert Storm and then basically scrapped. They were sitting, in a motor pool, and all the seals were rotted out, and some of it was rust. So when I first got there, I became, for all intents and purposes, a mechanic.
Uh-huh.
They brought in a contractor from General Dynamics named Joe Hatfield, and he guided us. We were basically his tools. He told us what to do. So we, basically rebuilt these vehicles and got them up and running again. There were 4 of them, and in doing that, I went back to Fort McClellan, Alabama, for Fox School to learn how to operate the vehicle properly and all that. And we came back, and that was it. That was my job from then on. And we were in the right place because LAR stands for Light Armored Reconnaissance, so they have LAVs, Light Armored Vehicles.
Right.
And these are also armored vehicles, but as far as weaponry, the only thing we had was smoke grenades on the side and a 240 Golf mounted at the vehicle commander spot. But basically, we had a mass spectrometer in the back. The point of the vehicle has an overpressure system, so nothing can get in, like a jet. We would go into the environment, figure out what's in the environment with the mass spectrometer, or if it's a biological attack, we had the ability to take samples, but find out what is in the environment, what's the extent of the contamination, find the quickest way through it, or the quickest way around it.
Right.
That was my job.
And okay, again, I'm just going to ask you this.
Sure, no worries.
Were there any casualties
No.
throughout any of these exercises?
No.
Okay. How did people entertain themselves?
Well, there's like a let's say PC version of the Marine Corps. See the guy in his dress blues, and the guy in the commercial fighting a dragon or whatever. Marines are we're professional, but there's an underbelly to it.
Playtime.
Lots of beer, lots of pizza, lots of shenanigans. It's just how it is. We have a good time. There's a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt in regards to Marines, and I don't remember it exactly. I'm going to mess it up. Sorry, but she says something. Never has she seen a group of men with the lowest morals, highest morale, filthiest minds, and the cleanest bodies as the United States Marine Corps. Or God bless the United States Marines or something like that. And I love that quote because it's true.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Well, tell me about a couple of the pranks.
Okay. Hazing. Hazing's not supposed to exist, right? Okay. And this is just Division NBC. When I first got to Division NBC, I got hogtied with bootlaces in my room and left with toenail clippers to get out.
Oh.
All right. I did get out, and then once I got out, I was in. So the thing wasn't too bad for me, but I got in there and I was greeted with beer and pizza, and I was in now. Everything was good. But that initial, and that wasn't even the first day that I got hogtied. I want to say that was probably after a week or so. And there's just general razzing. My last name's Jefferys, and they would call me Jennings just to piss me off. It's just
just little things.
Yeah, and there was guys who got hazed worse than me, so I'm thankful for just the hog tying and the bootlaces. But yeah, I mean, it's just you're the new guy, and it's part of. I know it's been worse in other areas. I wasn't injured. Nobody that I knew wasn't.
Where were you born?
Right here in West Palm Beach, Florida.
So, what did you come home on leave?
Oh yeah, definitely. I usually came home here.
Well, and did you? Okay, how often did you come home on leave?
Well, you get 30 days every year. So I would try and come home at least 2 weeks out of the year, and the rest of the time I would stay in California. I love Florida, but come on.
Where did you? I hear you. Where did you travel while you were in the service?
I stayed pretty much in California. Sometimes we went down to Mexico. I love Mexico. We go a little bit further past Tijuana and go down to Rosarito. It's a little bit nicer. But yeah, it's a good time.
Okay.
Or we go to LA. I had a friend of mine that worked in a bar in Hermosa Beach. They live over there now, which is funny. But after he got out, but yeah,
stay there, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, travel.
You stay in touch with your friends after the service?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you go up to San Francisco or anything?
I did. Yeah, I went to San Francisco. It was actually for a Fleet Week.
What is that?
A Fleet Week. It's basically we got on LSD 45. I think it was the Harper Sperry. It's a ship.
Okay.
We went up there, and basically it's a dog and pony show for the public, almost like a public relations type thing. So during the day, we'd show off our vehicles and give dog and pony shows for the public, and then at night though, we'd get libo, so we'd go out in town and
You get what?
Liberty.
Oh,
Libo.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Then what did you think of officers and your fellow soldiers,
Um,
or compared to you?
compared, no, I guess I was middle of the road. I wasn't the best Marine. I wasn't the worst Marine. I had a friend of mine. We were all pretty tight. His name was Bill Gelzer. Um, he was, and all right, let me preface this. I had a friend growing up named Steve Miller. He didn't, he didn't enlist or anything, but Bill was a lot like Steve.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was in the Marine Corps, Bill was my Steve. You know what I mean? He was younger than me, but he was just always there. You know what I mean? Like one night I got drunk and decided I wanted to go live in the woods. And Bill wasn't gonna let me do that. He's the one that came and got me, pulled me out, so I don't wake up, in a bed of thorns or whatever on the side of some mountain or whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, he was just we were pretty close. We wound up being roommates. And then I had another friend, Dion, which I'm still friends with now. Bill, he passed away after we got out, and coincidentally, so did Steve. Within a week of each other, so you had the two people that were like, sort of rocks for me as far as friendship is concerned. They both passed within a week of each other.
Uh-huh. Wow.
But
how old were they?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Early 30s maybe.
Right.
But this is the same tattoo that Bill had.
I can't.
You
Can you
can't see
raise
it
that
there?
now? Yeah.
It's upside down. Sorry, we didn't see it. His nickname was Pecos.
Uh-huh.
It's a little guy. The hat says USMC, and then I added pals onto the bottom of it because we
Do like that.
do like this. There's nothing there anymore, but you can see it.
As close as I can get with that. Hold on.
Sure.
There we go. Yeah, we got it. Cool.
Yeah, it's the same tattoo that Bill had.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you back.
So
All right. So, when did you get married while you were in the service or after you came out?
no, after I got out,
Uh-huh. How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Wow, man. Somebody's been busy.
Well, we got twins, so we got a twofer.
Oh, really? Two for one. Okay, I got you. Okay. Do you recall, did you keep a diary?
Nah.
Hey, you didn't tell me. What did you think of officers?
Oh, I'm sorry, officers. Well, like our battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Powers,
Uh-huh.
Jeff Powers.
Yep.
He, a quintessential Marine. I mean, just bonkers in a good way.
Uh-huh.
Like at the time, Saving Private Ryan came out, right? And remember, there's a scene where the soldier gets killed in a knife fight. So
Okay.
Lieutenant Colonel Powers like, no, my Marines are gonna die in a knife fight. So every Friday, hand-to-hand training, knife training,
Oh.
And don't get me wrong, it was fun. It was cool. That's just how he was. He was hard. When he came in, when I initially got to 1st LAR Battalion, we had Lieutenant Colonel Sword, which is very front office, PC type guy. You know what I mean? Whereas Lieutenant Colonel Powers was a warrior. Huge. I mean, he had to cut his sleeves to get him to go over his arms. I mean, just hardcore. And he's the one that gave 1st LAR Battalion its identity, the Highlanders. So, like we would do motivational hikes. We'd go hike, 8-10 miles, something like that. Wind up on the beach, and you look up on the cliff, and there's a guy playing bagpipes, and we got roast pigs and kegs of beer. You know what I mean? Just he's the one that made me and everybody else proud to be in 1st LAR.
Hold it.
And then I had my warrant officer, Chief Warrant Officer Ferguson,
Right.
Dale Ferguson. I'm still friends with him too.
Oh.
We used to call him Fergie.
So you guys stay in touch.
Yeah.
Good.
How to describe him? He was really coming from the enlisted side. He really identified with us. I mean, he was the guy that was in charge, but he'd go to bat for us. But at the same time, we were able to go over to his house and have barbecues or whatever. Or he was just, and at the time, we gave him crap, But I didn't know it was the case. I didn't know what I had until he was gone. Put it this way, I can't remember the name of the guy that took over for him.
I hear you. So how many buddies do you stay in touch with after the service? Bunch?
Yeah.
Cool. How many? What makes up a platoon? How many individuals?
Well, with us, our platoon was small because we called it Fox platoon. We were only so you had
10, 12?
yeah, something like that. You had four. There was four Fox vehicles, and then we had three crew members each, and then there was a regular NBC unit. I mean, we're still all together, but they were the guys that were in charge of inventory, and so there was two guys there. Yeah, I'd probably say I guess 12 or 15 in ours.
Okay.
Now, and again, I feel bad, but the guys I was closest with were the other Fox guys. You know, I remember Mario Solis. I mean, he was my roommate. He wasn't a Fox guy at first. I think he got into the Fox vehicles after I got out. But he was my roommate, so I still talk to him too. He's a UPS driver. He went from driving a 19-ton armored vehicle to driving a UPS truck.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Do you recall you recall the day your service ended?
Yeah. I had some leave saved up. So when I enlisted, it was I want to say January. Yeah, it was January 1st. So I was supposed to get out January 1st. But I had like 15 days of leave set up, so they call it like terminal leave. So I got out technically 15 days early and just used my leave at the end.
Right.
So I was able to get home in time for Christmas and New Year's and all that. But I remember when I got out, I wanted to get out. First of all, I felt like I was done with the Marine Corps. Not that I hate it. Just the Marine Corps. There's lots of games and by I mean games, I mean your life's not the most easiest thing in the world. Nobody expected that, but I was fed up with that at that point. I had all my friends, and that I'll always cherish. So I did. I got a little choked up when I got out, though, even wanting to get out. But yeah, I remember I left like that. I could have left the next morning, but I rented a van. My friend Corey and his girlfriend flew out and picked him up at LAX, and then went down to Camp Pendleton, loaded the van up, and we actually drove back. But we left that night because I was done. I didn't want to hang around for another night if I didn't have to.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. What did you do in the days and weeks afterwards?
I didn't shave. Didn't cut my hair.
I see.
No, I took a well deserved vacation, and then about January or so, I took a job as a dishwasher. Just in my friend Steve, that same friend, he managed a Boston market, so I got in there as a dishwasher just for 6 months or so.
Right. And
then I left there, enrolled in college, and started working in a record store, which is something I'd always wanted to do. So I worked in two different record stores for about 2 years. Where did I go from there? I went to what did I do? Oh, I was a lifeguard briefly, and then became a veterinary vet tech that was another 2 years. And then sporadically attending classes at the local community college.
Okay.
My kids were born during that time, and finally I managed to graduate from college about 2007.
Okay. Where'd you meet your wife?
We knew each other, ex-wife, but we knew each other in high school.
That's your first wife.
Yeah. I don't have another one yet.
Oh.
No, yeah, I didn't remarry yet, so.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So you went back to school. You used your GI Bill, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I know you made close friends while you were in the service.
Yeah.
And you continued the relationships. Okay. Right up to the moment, right?
Yep.
Do you belong to any veterans organizations?
No. I'm technically a disabled veteran. So.
Okay. All right. So you get a disability.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So you told me about the other little odd jobs, and what is the job you had before what you're doing now?
I worked at that same college in the film department. I was their equipment manager.
Okay.
I was there for almost 9 years.
Okay.
I left last month to start my own business.
Gotcha.
So,
all right. So you're doing...
I'm doing sound for...
Production?
Yeah, well, mainly sound is my focus.
Okay.
I do sound for television and film, and the company's called Sound Wizard, LLC, and that's where I'm at now.
Okay. Where's that located?
I'm running out of my house currently.
Gotcha.
I have studio space in Port St. Lucie, but the mailing address is my home address.
Gotcha. All right. Just a couple more questions. Um, did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general? All right. And how did your service and experiences affect your life?
The Marine Corps changed me, fundamentally as a person. I have a really strong work ethic, and if something's not done right, it eats at me. Even if like say I'm doing a project for a client, even if they're satisfied and I know it's not right, it still eats at me. Like, I don't care if they're satisfied. I need to be satisfied, and I would like to think I hold myself to a higher standard than they would. Um, there's a phrase in the Marine Corps, and I know, don't get me wrong, we're all, like I said, we're knuckleheads. We cut up, we have a good time, but the idea is do the right thing even when no one's looking. And that's stuck with me the rest of my life to this very moment.
Okay, well, is there anything that you feel like you left out that you want to share, with me or with us? Because the whole world's going to see this.
Hi, Mom!
Hi, Mom! Okay, well, I want to thank you for your service. And I want to thank you for this interview. And thanks.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay, Paul.